you're faced with the end, it always seems like you start thinking about the beginning. I don't know why that is. When you finish high school, you start thinking about your freshman year or even before that, or, just whenever things are ending, you start thinking about the beginning. So let's talk a little bit about boot camp today. Let's jump right into it. This is not a tutorial about what to do to pass boot camp. First of all, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there to help you with that, so we don't need another one. And plus, your recruiter should be doing that, air quotes, should be doing that. Whether they're doing that or not, I guess that's up for debate. But, I feel like I was pretty well prepared for boot camp. First of all, I signed up. I went to MEPS at a couple of weeks before I turned 29. So I joined really late. I know a lot of you guys out there, you hard chargers, are retiring now that joined at 18, because it's been about 20 years. So, I joined at 28, went through boot camp at 29, turned 30 in core school, but we'll get to that. Anyway, boot camp, if I could do it all over again, it was definitely the biggest thing I'd done at that point. I'd been to college, but college is just like high school on steroids. College to me wasn't that big a deal, mostly because I went to college for sports instead of, staying in school and, getting a degree like I should have, which is why I'm on round 2 with college right now, thanks to the military. But boot camp, everybody makes this big deal about boot camp, really all you have to do is be in shape when you go and just basically keep your mouth shut. And apparently that's really hard for a lot of people. Let me just start at the beginning here. So, they take you from your home, you go to MEPS, you do a physical, you get your little medical record for you to take with you on the plane, and they're really serious about it. Don't lose it. If you lose it, it's going to be trouble, but whatever. But it was me, and I remember it was 2 other guys, and they gave me the packet to hold for everybody with everybody's medical record in it, because I was the oldest and I was, at least on paper, the most responsible. Little do they know. But so I'm on the plane, I get to Great Lakes, and first thing I should have done was go and eat, because nobody told me that I was going to be up all night. I got into Great Lakes at around 9 p.m. or 2100 for you folks out there. But I got in late, and I was so worried that I was going to miss the bus, or I was going to get in trouble, or something was going to happen. So I went straight to where we were supposed to meet to go onto the base for boot camp. So I didn't eat anything. I just went to the bathroom, and I immediately found where I was supposed to be. Big mistake, because we didn't eat that night, or we stayed up all night, and we stayed up until breakfast time, and that was the first time I got to eat, and that was the best breakfast ever. So, little tip for you guys out there: if you're going to boot camp and you are going to be up all night, if you get to the airport late, make sure you eat something before you get on that bus, because it's going to be the last thing that you eat for a very long time, or at least it's going to feel like a very long time. I like to eat anyway. I'm a big dude. I'm always eating. So, for you big guys out there that are going to be traversing boot camp, just a little tip for you. One thing I remember about going to boot camp is that, first of all, boot camp in general is basically just a shit-talking contest. Seriously, at every point, someone is talking shit. It's nonstop. It's not even that serious. Not that boot camp isn't serious, but the things that they're saying or talking shit about just tend to be these little petty remarks that really just don't mean anything. I guess if I was 18 or 19 going through boot camp, it might do something to me, but I'm 29 years old, I got a wife and a kid, it's not really going to bother me. But what made me laugh is that I get down to where we're supposed to meet this guy. We were told that it was an official from the base. So I'm thinking like a chief, a master chief, a lieutenant, they send this little E3 in khakis, and he's there with a clipboard saying there, "What's your name?" We're talking about a little E3. He's probably 20. It weighs about 114 pounds soaking wet, and he's sitting there like, sit down. I'm like, Okay. He's telling us to sit on the floor. But I don't know. I don't know what the obsession with talking shit is when you clearly have nothing to talk shit about. But he's sitting there yelling at us to sit down, and I'm like, who is this guy? I mean, okay. He probably just passed boot camp a couple of days ago himself and drew the short stick to go at 9 o'clock at night to pick us up from the airport. But anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm already hungry. I'm like, God dang it, why didn't I go get something? I walked right past the Panda Express. I could have just picked up a plate and eaten it on my way, but anyway, we're on this bus and it's dark and I'm just, we go through those gates and I'm just like, here it comes, 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 here it comes. And I made the mistake. Here's another tip for you guys out there if you're going through boot camp. Don't wear anything ostentatious if you're going to boot camp. And that probably goes for any branch. I'm talking specifically about the Navy, but don't wear anything ostentatious when you go to boot camp. Because, it wasn't even that bad when I look back on it. But, it was something for them to pick on. So, I was, this is 10 years ago, so I was in pretty good shape. I was probably like 30 pounds lighter than I am right now, and I was pretty yoked. So I'm wearing this button down. They just said, wear regular clothes. Don't wear anything special, just regular clothes. So I got a pair of jeans, a pair of boots, and I have this button down t-shirt. And of course, I'm Mr. Sexy. So I got it's like halfway buttoned down. It's like probably right between my pecs. So you could see my chest and, my muscles and everything. It's a little rolled up on the forearms, and I'm looking like I'm trying to be Mr. Cool or Mr. Sexy, which I was, but they're not supposed to know that. So we get off the bus and we run into Golden 13. My Navy guys out there will remember what that is, but we get out of this bus and into the building. We're, they're shoving, pieces of paper in our hands and folders in our hands and say, hold this and go stand over there. And we're just, we don't know which end is up, and we're just trying to go as fast as we can. And this petty officer is coming down the line, and he's just looking for someone. He's just like a shark in the water, and he's just looking for someone to rip apart. And, of course, me with the chest out, he's like, he looks at me and goes, oh, my fucking God. Look at this guy. Hey, come over here and look. And I'm like, shit. 30 seconds off the bus and I'm already getting it. And he's like, oh, Mr. Sexy over here wants to show us his muscles. Oh, you think you're sexy? You think you're cute? And I'm like, no, petty officer. And like, hey, button that shit up. I don't want to see it again. And this shirt was already tight to begin with. So now I'm like, having it unbuttoned to where it was actually made it comfortable. So now I'm having to button it up and it's like screaming, tight, like it wants to rip, so I had to wear it like that until we got our issued stuff, which is another funny story. So we're standing in this room. There's like 20 of us, we're all guys. So they start passing out these boxes. They say, take off the clothes that you're wearing, put them in these boxes, and I'll be right back. I'm like, so, we're taking off our stuff, leave on your underwear, of course, so we're standing there, and this big dude comes out. And first of all, there's a lot of, good-sized dudes in boot camp, which I guess makes sense. They were trying to get me to go to boot camp. But, big dude, probably about 6'4". It's taller than me, pretty yoked. He comes up and he says, you. I'm like, me? Yeah, you, motherfucker. Get over here. Oh, okay. So, anyway, but he pulls me out of this group of 20 people, gives me all my stuff right away, in that hard tacking military style, and he runs me over to, and now, just to preface this, my plan for boot camp had been to just fly under the radar, just go with the flow, not do anything crazy, and just get through boot camp. I didn't want to have to, be anyone's leader, be anyone's mama, do any babysitting, well, that plan didn't work out. This is only about an hour since I've been off the bus, and this guy gives me all my stuff in what's called a ditty bag, gives me all my clothes and shoes and socks and underwear and all that stuff, and he runs me over to this guy sitting in a chair waiting, the person who was going to be my RDC, and he says, hey, I got your new Master at Arms for your new 900 division. And I'm like, shit. Sounds like babysitting duty. So, anyway, first thing out of his mouth, can you swim? Can you run? Yeah, we'll see about that. So, So already I've got a job. Great. So that's exactly what I didn't want. But, that was just the first day of boot camp, So, the first week or so was really just filling out forms and just, but, overall, boot camp is really not that hard, I remember leading up to boot camp, I was watching all these military movies, G.I. Jane and Officer and a Gentleman, kind of going back in time here, Under Siege, and it just, the military is just, it's such a facade. And what's great about it is you put on this facade and it makes you work, you make people nervous that they're going to get in trouble. But, the genius behind it is that you wouldn't be worried about getting in trouble if you didn't have some degree of respect. And that's what it's really about, is you respect your buddies, your teammates, your shipmates, the RDCs, whatever branch you're in, drill instructors, drill sergeants, you do have a degree of respect for them. Even though they're screaming at you and making you do push-ups and run and all that stuff, you respect them because they are where you want to be. They've already gone through it, they've made rank, and now they're teaching you. And there were some really cool times that, everything sort of came full circle, because you can kind of get lost, you do start thinking, dang, these guys really do hate me and I haven't done anything wrong and I'm doing my best and they're just busting my balls all day long. But then there's these little moments where you realize that they are on your side and that they really do want you to succeed. Times like that, probably my favorite time like that, I have a stutter, I always have, at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say I'm not going to grow out of it. I'm about to turn 40 and I still stutter. So it is what it is, I can live with it, but, that was probably the biggest thing I was concerned about going into the military, is somebody saying something about my stutter. But I just kind of made peace with it, I stutter. I'm probably not the first person in the world. So it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. So there was this one instructor. Every time we went to the parade hall, and he would make fun of my stutter every time, and I was, you have to go up to the front door and you have to, say, Division 927 reporting, blah, 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 you do your little salute and your entrance and all that stuff. And I would stutter when I would say it, and the guy would make fun of me. So he would stay right beside me and ask me a bunch of questions, recite the Sailor's Creed, your 11 general orders, trying to get me to stutter so he could fuck with me, So, and he finally, I was trying to focus and not stutter. And then, of course, I did eventually, he got what he wanted. But then under my breath, because he'd been messing with me so bad. And then under my breath, when he was messing with me, I said something, I forget what it was. It was something about, hey, we could take this shit outside or something to that effect. I forget what it was, but I thought I said it really low, and I guess he heard it and he said, "What'd you say? Take it outside? Is that what you said?" I didn't say that, petty officer. And I was backtracking. I don't want to get in trouble. I was like, no, petty officer, I didn't say that. "Oh, then what'd you say? Spit it out. What'd you say?" And nothing happened, but, he just got in my face a little bit. But then I remember going back to the compartment that night, like, I'm going to kill that motherfucker, man. I was so mad. Like, I hate that guy. Why is he always messing with me? So, graduation day comes, it's a big event. My mom, it's probably one of the best times you'll ever have in the military is your boot camp graduation, especially if your family comes. My mom, my dad, my wife came. It was great, really great day, really great weekend. And, so they ring the bell, Liberty call, Liberty call, you guys are graduated. So, I'll never forget, the first person to congratulate me was that guy. And it wasn't like he was saying it just to be, because he had to say it because it was his job. You could tell I looked in his eyes. You could tell he really meant it. He said, "Hey, congratulations. Good luck out there. I know you're going to do great things." And I was like flabbergasted. I was waiting for the punchline. I was like, really? Wow. That's 10 years ago. Little things like that really do tend to stick with you. So boot camp was a great time. I can't say too many bad things about it. The people who had a tough time in boot camp strike me as the kind of people who are going to have a tough time in life in general. I don't know, everybody's different. We all come from different backgrounds. it's a mixed bag when you get into the Navy. When you get out there, you realize there's people from every walk of life, from everywhere, and you're going to have some people that you just don't mesh with. And, my boot camp class was definitely not short of those people, So one person in particular, I can't remember his name. I don't think he's in the Navy anymore. So I feel like I heard like he got in trouble or something like that, but I mean, I don't know. But this guy was just fighting the process tooth and nail. Now, when you get to about I would say even like week 2 or 3, I mean, that early. I mean, boot camp is only like 8 or 9 weeks. Before the halfway point, I mean, you've pretty much got it. I mean, yet you got to wake up, you got to make your rack, you're going to have to clean the head, you're going to get breakfast, you're going to come back and you're going to do XYZ. I mean, they post it on the wall, when PT is, when, it's time to clean or it's time to learn, or we have study sessions where we go up to, study on the computers, and we take little tests and stuff like that. When all that stuff is happening. And this guy was just fighting the process. And at this point, we're all kind of, acclimated to it, and we're just looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Just relax, you're going to have people like that in boot camp, but then, you grow up and you realize you're going to have people like that in life. So, whether it's in boot camp or in business or wherever, college, wherever you end up, you're just going to have people like that you just, that square peg and round hole scenario. So, but boot camp was a good time. I had a great time. That weekend that we graduated, I'm just trying to think of, some of my favorite little aspects of it. That weekend that we graduated, my mom and dad came out, my wife came out, and they had actually changed the criteria for corpsmen. That was actually when I went to Corps School. I went to Corps School in San Antonio. I know a lot of you older guys. You guys went to Great Lakes, basically right across the street from boot camp, but I didn't. I was actually the 7th class to graduate from Corps School at Fort Sam Houston. So we had graduation day, and we had our liberty, got to be back by a certain time. Then the next day, they got us out early. We went to the airport, and I basically spent the entire day in the airport. I think my flight left at probably 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So we literally spent all day in the airport. And my wife was, we carved some time out to, sit and talk. And, we haven't seen each other in 2 months. And, we sat in the airport. I remember we sat in a Chili's, and my wife was sitting there like, I have something really important I want to tell you. And I was like, okay, yeah, what's going on? Well, I don't want to tell you right now. I'm like, okay, whenever you want to tell me, I just don't want to put too much pressure on you. Like, no, it's okay, baby, whatever it is, But anyway, I went back and got on the plane, and, it was a teary goodbye. It was a tough day for everybody, I wanted to stay with her, but, we have this plan, and we're trying to just kind of go with it, but it was a tough day, tears were definitely shed on both sides that day. But anyway, as you might have guessed already, she was pregnant, and that was a crazy year, man. That was a crazy year, man. And boot camp is just the tip of the iceberg, man. If you guys are looking to join the military, boot camp, don't get too hung up on boot camp. Just be in shape. If you're joining the Navy, be in shape, be able to run, know how to swim, and just be open to it, because there are so many little funny things that happen in boot camp. You're not going to want to miss them, things that are just hilarious, like, okay, I don't want to name names because they might be watching right now, but I'm just gonna if you're listening, you know who you are. I tried to think of something else, but this was the funniest thing I could think of that happened in boot camp. Okay, here it goes. So we have these little books, these little study books, because we take about it's like 3 or 4 tests during boot camp, actual written tests. Well, not written, but they're on the computer, but you know what I mean. So we take like 3 or 4 tests in boot camp, and we have these study books. So in these study books, there's a couple of empty pages that you can scribble on, whatever, and just guys being guys. One of my buddies takes another guy's book and draws remember that movie Superbad? He drew the biggest dick in this guy's book. I mean, it was huge. Veins, balls, hair, you name it. He just drew a big dick in the guy's book. And the guy was such a fucking wimp. He goes and he squeals to me about it, and I'm thinking, okay, well, just, because we don't want to get in trouble, get extra push-ups and, what we call IT'd or intense training. We don't want to get that. We're trying to just chill, so, just don't worry about it. So he's like, but the guy is showing me, because I'm like the den mom of boot camp, so he's showing me, he's like, oh, I don't like this, I don't appreciate it. And, oh, jeez Louise. So before he goes and tells the brass, I got to make the walk of shame and go and tell, hey, Chief, somebody did this and they're having kind of a problem with it. And he looks at me and his eyes just perk up. Really? Ha-ha! Well, let's just find out who did it, shall we? And the rest is history. We got beat for probably 2 solid hours. I mean, every exercise you could think of. Push-ups, jumping jacks, 8-count bodybuilders, flutter kicks. I mean, you name it, man, for 2 hours. That beating never ended. If I see that guy, I'm going to beat the shit out of him. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, man. But boot camp was a trip. It was a good time. If you're going there, definitely embrace it. Don't just try to breeze past it like was my plan. Embrace it and actually enjoy it. Did you guys enjoy that? Good. If you like that, check me out on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for more Big Jones Big Life Unleashed.